Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome to the Relationship Cheat Code, where we give you the game helping you to stress less and experience your absolute best in your relationship. My name is Ayize Ma'at, co-founder of Black Love and Marriage, Breakthrough, and so many other things as it pertains to you elevating your relationship. My wife and I were both trained therapists, and we do this work to help you understand you better, but also go to the next level in your life and in your relationship. This question that we got in is definitely a question that doesn't come in too frequently. However, it's something that a number of people are dealing with. And so the sister, she wrote in and she said, I cheated on my husband once and I'm tempted to cheat on him again. And the reason why is because there's no intimacy in my marriage. And so she's asking for help. One of the things that I want to lift up is that when it comes to this whole infidelity piece, there's a number of people who are dealing with infidelity, whether it be quietly or even out loud. It's something that is disrupting the lives of individuals, but also breaking up homes. And so infidelity is something that many folks are dealing with. And my wife and I, we specialize in helping couples disrupt the dysfunction that takes place individually, but also collectively when infidelity knocks on your door. And let me be clear, I'm not saying that it's happened to you. I do want to make sure that I'm clear about the fact that it's something that you've chosen to do. And so if that is what you've chosen to do, you got to deal with the consequences. Not only has it knocked on your door, but you opened it up and allowed it to come in. And so I want to first start off by really setting the stage and emphasizing that when it comes to dealing with infidelity, it's really important that we approach it from a place of empathy and understanding. And I want to express this because a lot of folks are dealing with, challenges as it pertains to the opposite sex, sometimes even the same gender. Struggling marriages are real, fam. Struggling marriages are real, and a number of folks are dealing with issues as it pertains to isolation. And even prior to dealing with isolation issues, you got abandonment issues that you may have brought into the marriage. And so when it comes to this piece right here, like you have bags upon bags upon bags that you're possibly stepping into the marriage with. And as a result, you end up starting to, for some people, fortunately, they may start to unpack, they start to examine, they start to explore and really get an understanding of like what is holding me hostage, what's holding me back, and what's leading me to the place where I'm making some irresponsible decisions. Now, there's other people that don't do that. Some folks don't do that. Some folks just simply sit in a pocket and they keep that backpack on. And for those folks, they oftentimes find themselves in a position where in their marriage, they may step out, not once, not twice, not three times, but they become repeat offenders. And a large part of that is based off of the fact that they're not doing the work that needs to be done to honor the commitment that they made when they said, I do. And so it's something that we got to deal with, y'all. So, one thing that in the work that my wife and I do, one thing that some women, because this is a woman who wrote in, and she's talking about like how she feels tempted to cheat again. People sometimes express that this desire to step out of the relationship is based off of feeling or this lack of fulfillment. I get it. Like sometimes people have larger appetites than others. Sometimes people have desires, and sometimes people got married based off of false promises and unrealistic expectations. And so as a result, you're stepping into it, feeling like, yo, you're not meeting my needs. You're not meeting my needs. You're coming up short. And, I've expressed maybe once, maybe twice, maybe multiple times that I'm not satisfied. And as a result, like I need to be able to take control of, this situation. And so I'm going to do the things that I do to make sure that my needs get met. And what I want to emphasize is that if that's the approach that you take, you're out of order. You're out of order. It's important for you to make sure that you're tending to you, that you're pouring into yourself, that you're prioritizing you. But please keep in mind that your marriage ain't just about you. You're part of a team. And so when you chose to take the vows, when you chose to enter into this covenant, when you chose to say, I do, it became not about you, but it became about y'all. And so it's really important that although you may have these feelings, and I want to validate the feelings, the feelings are real. It's okay to feel unfulfilled. It's okay to feel like I need more. It's okay to feel like, you're not giving me enough. But what I want you to do is when you feel those feelings, number one, acknowledge them, but how do you respond to those feelings? How do you respond to them? That right there is what defines you, how you respond to those feelings. And so for some people, if they have those feelings, then they're going to have a conversation. If they have those feelings, they're going to get counseling. They're going to get therapy. If they have those feelings as it pertains to the temptation, they're going to start to read books. If they have those feelings, they're going to come and talk to my wife and I. And then you got other people who, when they have those feelings, they just lean all the way into it. And they give in, they succumb. And sometimes we fool ourselves into thinking that, it's just a little something here, just a little something there. I can put myself in positions where I'll be cool. I'll just taste. It'll be a taste test. I'll dabble into the waters of flirtation. I'll dabble into the waters of, extended lunches. I'll dabble into the waters of, working a little bit longer hours. I dabble into these things, and I got the discipline and the ability to be able to pull back when the opportunity actually presents itself. And what I'm saying to you is that if you're stepping into it from a place of being unfulfilled, what defines you is how you respond to that. And so if you're extending those lunches, if you're extending those meetings at work to be around him or to be around her, that's what's defining you, those decisions. And so you got to be extremely careful about those choices that you're making, because again, if you want your marriage to last and you want to avoid that sea of temptation, you got to do something different and position yourself in a way in which you actually can make smart choices and wise choices when it comes to making sure you honor your commitment to your spouse. And so it's important that you lead from a place of ownership, fam. You got to own it. And so if you've done it in the past, now some people might take the approach where it's like, yo, I'm gonna sweep it up under the rug and it never happened. No harm, no foul. Like it's he don't know, he don't need to know. She don't know, she don't need to know. And what I'm saying to you is that, like, you got to lead from a place of ownership. You got to take responsibility for past actions. If you want the relationship to be different, then you got to be willing to have the hard conversations. You do. You got to be willing to have the hard conversation. Number one, first and foremost, with yourself, but then also with your spouse. With your spouse. Like, when it comes to those past actions, answer the question, why? Why you do it? What are the real reasons behind you making the decision that you did? And so, sis, for you, what I would say is that cheating is a choice. It's not a reaction to your partner's shortcomings. It's not. And so if you, number one, want your marriage to work, even if you are feeling unfulfilled and you want to work towards gaining a sense of fulfillment within you first and then within a relationship, you got to own that, sis. Cheating is a choice. And it's not a reaction to what he is or is not doing. And healing begins with you owning that choice. You got to own that choice. You chose to do it. And I'm speaking to the women right now, but this is also applicable to men who may find themselves in a situation like wanting to double dip, wanting to go back multiple times because they feel unfulfilled because the wife ain't giving me no booty. That's the decision that you're making, bro. It's not a responsible reaction to her shortcomings. Better yet, it's a reaction. Let me clear that up. It is a reaction, but it's not a responsible response to her shortcomings. It's not. And if you really want to experience real healing, you got to understand that your cheating was a choice and it's one that you chose. If we peel back the layers and look at this infidelity piece, and we want to dive deeper and really get clear about like what's going on. What's going on, fam? And so sometimes we could take a surface level approach and say that it's based off of a lack of intimacy. And if I be real, lack of intimacy may be present. So I'm going to validate the fact that you're not getting your needs met sexually, you're not getting your needs met emotionally. But if I also be real, that right there is a symptom and it's not the source. It's a symptom and it's not the source. And the reason why I say this is because there's a number of people that do not get their sexual needs met in a relationship and they're not cheating. There's a number of people who do not get their emotional needs met in a relationship and they're not cheating. And so it's incumbent upon you to do some self-reflection to understand the deeper challenges and reasons within a relationship, the deeper challenges and reasons within you that are leading you to a place where you actually make the choice to step out on your spouse. You did it once, and now you're tempted to do it again. And what you're saying is that because he's not meeting your needs intimately, And what I'm saying to you is that it's deeper than that, sis. It's not about what he's not doing, but it's possibly about what it is that you have or have not experienced prior to him that you're making that decision. One of the things that I've seen, like in working with couples, is that sometimes people, based off of their orientation, have a underlying belief that the person won't change. There won't be a shift. There won't be a transformation. There won't be any elevation, any understanding or insight that leads to change behavior in a relationship. And so what you do believe is that it's going to be like this forever and ever. And what I'm saying to you is that even if you are moving in your relationship with that belief, it still doesn't excuse the irresponsible decision to step out on your man or to step out on your woman. Like, that's not the reaction. That's not the responsible response to not getting your needs met. Because there's a ripple effect. There are consequences, real life consequences that go along with you making that decision for that moment or for those moments. And so it's important that you peel back the layers and ask yourself, like, what's going on? What's going on? You know the Marvin Gaye song. What's going on? What's going on, fam? Like, what's really going on? And even outside of your husband meeting your needs, you're talking about not being fulfilled, intimately. Are you meeting your own needs? Are you meeting your own needs? And the other piece too is, are you communicating the needs that you have that you would like to be desired or that you desire to be met by him? Are you? I can't tell you, how many times like women aren't being vocal about what they like in the bedroom. And a lot of that stems from the fact that, like, when you were growing up, you felt like you couldn't express your thoughts. You felt like you couldn't express your feelings, like you didn't have permission. You felt muted in your own home. And so in your relationship, you're moving and navigating in a way in which you feel muted now. And so you're thinking that he's just simply unable or incapable of meeting your needs, but you're not expressing it. You're not expressing what it is that you want, what it is that you need. And so he has no idea. And he's moving and navigating the relationship based off of what it is that he witnessed. And so let's say, for example, that what he's given is he's given the best of himself to you based off of what was modeled for him. And he had a mom that didn't have the same needs that you have. And so he's meeting your needs in a way in which he saw his father meet his mom's needs. But unless he knows that you have different needs, he's not going to meet those. And so you have a responsibility to express your thoughts, express your feelings, and communicate what's going on, fam. You got to be honest. You got to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to communicate before resentment builds up. And so if you feel disconnected, express that. If you feel lonely, express that. If you feel isolated, express that. If you want to be intentional about working on a relationship, like, express that. You got to cultivate the courage to be able to express that so that he can have a better understanding about what it is that you want and need in the marriage. Sometimes asking questions like, how can we create more moments of connection and intimacy, may stir the pot. It may put him in a position in which he, starts to contemplate, like, what can I do differently? When it comes to the emotional needs, like, lifting up what you would like to feel more of, but then also giving him examples of when you felt that within the context of the relationship. If you felt it before, you can feel it again. Sometimes we get so far away from practicing, we get so far away from doing the things that we used to do that we can lose our memory, but it don't mean that we can't get it back. It has to be recalled in order for us to rekindle. But a part of that recollection is based off of you lifting it up and expressing, like, what it is that you want and what it is that you need. You want to make sure that when you're communicating with your man, sis, like, that you are being proactive and not reactive. If a lack of intimacy is a primary and core issue in the relationship, again, partly based off of what he's not doing, but then also partly based off of what you're not doing, be proactive. Advocate for addressing these issues before, like, they become bigger, before they escalate, and before they elevate into infidelity. And so you've already done it once. You don't have to do it again. Again, it's a choice. It's a choice. You chose to do it before. And what I'm saying to you is, like, don't choose to do it again. And I'm saying don't choose to do it again because there's other options available, which include, you being more communicative, you being more proactive, you addressing the needs before you make another decision, you actually sharing with him, and this right here is going to be a trigger piece for some people, sharing with him what's happened, what you did. Yep. You got to be honest. You got a part of ownership is not owning a piece of it. A part of owning it is owning all of it. Not a part, but you want to make sure you own all of it. And so if you really want this marriage, you got to be honest. You got to be truthful. And you got to share what you did, what you've done, and what you desire as it pertains to you all's relationship. Again, be proactive and not reactive. When you start to notice these sparks fading, when you start to notice a shift, don't wait. Don't wait. Far too often, like, people are waiting. Like, we see this all the time. People are coming to us in the 11th hour and 59th minute, wanting a healing, wanting transformation, wanting a change, wanting newness, wanting reformation, wanting all of that. And it's not that it's not possible. Like, we've seen miracles happen. But what I'm saying to you is that it's a whole hell of a lot more difficult. And some of the stress, the distress, the disconnect, the dysfunction, the dissent that exists in the relationship could be minimized if you just be proactive and not reactive. Schedule time to connect emotionally. Come holler at my wife and I. Seek counseling, fam. Like, we're here to provide support. We specialize in this. We've helped couples navigate through infidelity. A lot of it's reactive and us coming in at the 11th hour and 59th minute. And what I'm saying to you is that it's a hard, heavy, arduous mountain to climb when you wait that long. Don't wait. Don't deliberate. You can contemplate, but you got to initiate and activate and move. You got to move, fam. Move and make a decision. You got to find ways to reignite the passion, the intimacy. Find ways to have the uncomfortable conversations. Find ways to talk it out so y'all can walk it out and y'all can walk together. You got to find ways. And so, sis, you're writing in saying that, you cheated once and now you're tempted to cheat again because there's a lack of intimacy. What I'm challenging you to do is to go within. And number one, be accountable for what you've done in the past. And a part of that accountability, again, is being honest. Communicating. If you haven't already done so, express and share like what's been done. Demonstrate sincere remorse. Be apologetic. Be accountable, and a part of accountability is taking action. Intimacy is not solely his responsibility. Intimacy is about y'all. It's your responsibility too. And so instead of waiting on him, how about you initiate, sis? How about you take ownership, be accountable, and initiate experience and intimacy? In addition to that, what I would say is that get the support. Like, a lot of times when we're left to our own, inclinations and vices, we find ourselves in a space where we're like stuck because we only are doing what it is that we know to do. So you got to get the support. Like I said a moment ago, reach out. Reach out. A part of the accountability is not just you holding yourself accountable or your partner holding you accountable. You also got to be in a position where you're actually surrounded with people who are willing to hold you accountable too. Not out of hate, not out of malice, and not out of judgment, critique, or ill will, but because they've been there. They've done that. They've experienced it, and they know what it's like on the other side. It requires hard work, after an affair to rebuild the relationship. It does. And so instead of you digging a hole even further by making a decision to do it again, I'm challenging you to dig your heels in the ground and make a decision that if you want this marriage, like, fight for it. Fight for it. And a part of fighting for it is you being honest, you being accountable, you communicating, being transparent, and being consistent over time. I'm sure he has his stuff. I'm sure he got work to do. And I'm sure the challenges that he may be having as it pertains to intimacy have been lifted up. I'm going to give you that credit. Because in the work that we do, we see women all the time talking about, like, he's not meeting my needs, he's not doing this. And I've said it 1,001 times. And what I often say is, how are you saying it? Are you speaking it in a way in which he can understand? Or are you approaching them from a place of criticism, condemnation? Like it's where there's a lack of receptivity. And then the retort is often like, why I gotta throw a lie past? Like, why I gotta make it soft? Like, I've been saying it and I started off soft and now I'm at a place where I'm just done. I get it. The piece that I want to bring you back to is that you can own your feelings, you can feel your feelings, and you can be done. But you being done based off of what he's not doing is still no excuse or no reason for you to cheat. It's not. It's a choice and a decision that you're making based off of where you are and your inability to deal with the emotions that you're experiencing, the anxiety, the frustration, the overwhelm, the lack of satisfaction, the lack of support. It's your inability to deal with those things that's leading you to a place where you're making a decision to cheat. His behavior or lack thereof may be an impetus. It may stir the pot somewhat, but what it's stirring up is something inside of you. And the thing inside of you is what you're acting on. My challenge to you is to get control of what's going on in here. Get control of what's going on in here. And when you do that, it'll help you better be able to navigate, your relationship. My hope and my prayer is that this has been helpful. That you're able to see yourself a little bit better and be clear about the fact that you're not a victim, sis. Like, this is a choice. You got a choice. I want to empower you with the idea, the understanding that, like, the choice is in your hands. You may be tempted, but you ain't got to act on that temptation. Communicate. Get some support. Lean into God. Lean into community. Lean into you. My hope and prayer is that you've enjoyed this episode. You got something significant from it that you'll be able to apply to your life. Again, please like, please subscribe, and please share. We're going to keep coming at you with different episodes on a weekly basis to help you elevate in your life and in your relationship. Again, you have a choice. You got a choice. You got a choice. You don't have to stay stuck. Don't walk around acting like you're in shackles. The shackles are up here, and the shackles are in here, and the shackles on that bag that you got on your back. But you can make a decision to unpack that stuff, and we're here to provide support for you. All right, fam, be easy. Peace out.